Let's piss some people off.
Hello and welcome to I Inspires the podcast. We're on our 12th episode and thank you for clicking on that play button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit subscribe, hit that bell button so you guys do not miss any one of my episodes. I decided to do a different topic of what I usually talk about, and it's a mix combination of how I have been able to achieve certain things in life, but at the same time, I have been able to keep myself with my feet on the ground, because the last thing I want is to get like those airs or flares of grandiosity just because I've reached a certain chapter of my life. The funny thing is that most people think that success is this one big shiny thing, like it means money, it means houses, it means cars, traveling, having all the materialistic things in life. That's how most of society defines what happiness is. So, happiness and success. So, in order for them to feel happy, they need to have that level of success. So, usually that is the norm. I have always kept myself on a humble level in the sense of not thinking of myself like this, I don't know, grandiose person or better than anybody. I'm still a human being. I'm still a humble person. I love hard. And a lot of people live guided by society in the terms of like what to achieve next that could impress other people, and I could be the talk of the town because I am so successful that I have all this wealth and all this stuff. But what happens if you achieve that kind of wealth? Good for you. That doesn't mean you're not allow yourself to achieve that. Is once you achieve that, what really determines you to be successful? Because for a lot of people it's to reach that, but once you reach that, then what? And that is the question in this episode, where we are redefining success through our own terms. And that means depending on however we want to see it and how we want to live life, period. Because if you're rich in money but broke in peace, you're not successful. You're just tired with nicer shoes. What's the point? I can tell you guys from my experience, I come from literally nothing. I come from a very, very noble family. We didn't have any financial wealth. Very medium to low class way of living. I was a single mom for 3 times. I have 4 kids, and it was rough. It came a time in my life, especially on my last relationship back in Puerto Rico, that, and I was talking about this with my best friend literally this morning, and I was like, don't you like get sometimes like this feeling of like the past and how you felt in the past, and like something of your past comes back and you remember that, and it was like a very traumatic thing for you, and you even get the feeling of how you felt in that moment. And she's like, yeah, like, right, doesn't that feel like so weird? And I'm like, yeah. And it was not a good feeling. I had always been the smart one. I had always been the one to went to college, the one that wanted to do so many things, great things. And I always was a dreamer. And I always, not only a dreamer, but I wanted my dreams to come true. I always saw life through another lens. To me, there was nothing that I couldn't do. As long as I put my heart and soul into it, and until this day, that's who I am. That's why a lot of my life I have been totally misunderstood. When one day you could have seen me selling sofrito because I was a single mom and I had to make money doing whatever I could. There's no shame. There is no shame. If you're going through this right now and you need to hear this, there is no shame into selling whatever you have to sell, as long as legal, in order for you to survive and in order for you to provide for your family. I went through a lot. I had to sell sofritos to even be able to get money for gas to go to work. This relationship where I went through was the hardest financial, and the pressure that I had on top of my shoulders. It was immense because this partner was not a person that knew how to solve adult problems. So I was literally guiding if he felt like another kid. So it was like I had 5 kids instead of 4. So I did go through a really rough struggle being a single mom. And I had so many dreams. I always thought of like, what would it be like to buy a house, to have a house of my own, to have a brand new car, to not have, I did not know what it was like not to worry every day. Every day of my life, I had to count whatever I had in order to be able to survive during the week. And that's how I used to live. I knew I had to put $20 in my car, like $20 of gas in my car so it could last and I had to even time or even track how many places I would go to. Because as a single mom, it is not easy keeping the financials and with everything that you have to give your babies at the same time, because when you're a mom, everything you get is for your kids, because you'd rather for them to be, having everything that you couldn't have and then some, than you even getting yourself stuff. So I did have, it was a huge transformation after I came over, and then I started this business with my then boyfriend, then fiance, and now husband, to where we are at right now. If you make me compare going back versus now, and I see everything that has changed in between, I'm like mind blown. If you would tell me, you would have told me, and you would have showed me a 1-minute clip of what my life is right now versus, and you would have shown me that like 20 years ago, I would have told you like, what is this? Is this gonna happen? Is this for real? Because it was, to me, it was just like, and not even that, I could tell like 9 years ago, not even 20, 9 years ago, I would have told you, you are freaking crazy. I did never know that I would be able to achieve what I've always wanted for me and my kids, and what I wanted to provide for me and my kids, in the home that I wanted to have at the same time. Because a house without a family is not a home. And when I talk about versus where I'm at right now, I'm not rich. I don't have like, I'm not considered rich by any stretch of the means. I'm just saying we'll live comfortable enough in order to have peace of mind. Does it consistently include a huge amount of stress? Mainly on my partner, that is the one that manages most of everything at our shop. Yes, he is the one who keeps the guys in check. He's the one who deals with them. And does it come at a great cost? Yes. Are we financially stable? Yes. And I thank God and the universe for that. Did I ever think that I would ever have this financial freedom? No. Did I ever even dream to have a partner like the one that I actually have? No. I thought honestly that was impossible. So the point of like people defining success is, they think that when they finally there, that's when they finally are happy. And it's like climbing a mountain and realizing that there's another peak right behind it, and you never stop climbing. So you better enjoy the view while you're there. Every step of the way of what you go through, just admire the beauty around you. Just stop, just smell the roses. Just literally when they say stop and smell the roses, stop living life with such a rush to show people that you're the best at whatever. Because at the end of the day, you're just living for people pleasing and for people to think that you're the best, or to, I don't know, check some boxes or like fill some expectations. But then again, ask yourself, are you truly happy with who you are, with what you're doing, the life that you're living, the partner that you're with, the relationship that you're in with your family? There is so much to success, and there is so many opinions as to what success really is. And my definition has always been so unconventional, because I do not measure success by society standards. To me, I'd rather be known. I don't wish to be famous, but I do wish to be known by people that I've helped, that I want. That's what I want. I want to be, that would be being successful to me. Being able to help people. Being able to be a key piece in somebody's life that guided them to achieve a better mental state, a better emotional state, for them to get some clarification on anything that they have misconstrued in their head or confused about. That's what I dream about. So people usually are debating, and it all depends on which society, what kind of part of society are you from. Because people focus a lot on the wealth and the bags and the brands and Gucci and Louis Vuitton and all of that, and they make that their personality and they run with that, and that is so sad. I have nothing against, nothing. I love brands. You guys know that I love fashion. I love fashion. But it's sad to make your life revolve around brands and for your brands to become your identity. A brand should complement you. A brand should be part and should blend in perfectly with who you are as an individual and how iconic and how different you are. It should add to you, not just and blend with you, not just become you or give you a sense of definition. Oh, she's wearing Prada. Well, she is, you know. I know, and I know that whatever you wear, people question where is it from. If I ask you where you got something, it's because I really like it. And I'm not gonna look if it's any certain type of brand. There are some brands that to me are very appealing, and I'm not gonna say them here because I'm not being paid for that. But if you pay attention, you guys would know. So one of the things that we do have to look out for in the search of the so-called success is what you should never lose sight of. And there's a couple things. And everything gets complicated when you put those success stories or those success priorities in front of these things that I'm going to say right now. Number one, you should never lose sight of your family and your kids. That time you will never get back. Always take time to be with your kid, to create memories, focus on them, focus on being with them, being present, having real conversations, getting to know your kids better, getting to know their personalities, getting to know what they like. You might live with someone and you might live in a house, and if I asked you a certain question, you might not know the answer to because you guys don't spend enough time talking. You cohabitate in the same space, but you guys are not have meaningful conversations, and that is something that you guys should look into. That is something that I always make sure that I do with my kids when I have them present. They do know that when we are gonna have dinner, there are no phones allowed on the table because we're supposed to be focused on each other, on talking to each other, and talking about things that we forgot to say to each other on the daily when we were together, or to catch up with things. Or mom, I forgot to tell you this and this happened, this like school, blah, 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 blah. And that's how it should be. Do not lose sight of your family and kids, because that is the main reason why you're trying to be successful. So what's the point of trying to get there to the success, but then you forget about your kids and family? Here's another critical one. The second one is health. A lot of people compromise, and I know a lot of people like this, that they rather work 80 hours a week and then they're exhausted and their bodies, and then they don't eat, they don't have breakfast when they have to, they're not going to the gym, they're not taking care of their body, they're not drinking enough fluids, enough water. And I am here like preaching, and I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna admit it because I know I'm gonna be called out by the people that know me, and I know I need to do better. I don't drink water. I'm not against water. It's just that I love Sprite. And this is not a paid this is not a paid episode, or this is not a paid sponsorship. I love Sprite. So you not taking care, this is like me speaking here, and I don't drink water. But losing a lot of sleep, which I know was that like, I do have certain conditions that cause me insomnia. Right now, I quit my traditional meds. It's been, a year and a half now, because I was already sick and tired. I was tired of the same thing. I was tired of relying on meds that were allegedly supposed to help my body, like my pains. For the guys, all of you that don't know, and I don't think I have ever mentioned it here, I do suffer from fibromyalgia. I have mentioned, I suffer from chronic migraines. That's the reason why I, by choice, don't drink alcohol. It's a very, very, very bad chronic migraine, to the extent that when I used to be able to drink casually or socially in the past, and like anybody, I would get like a hangover next day. It went to me taking a sip of alcohol, whichever, and I would get sick immediately. So by choice, and by something that honestly I don't need to be able to have fun and to interact with other people. I'm like a little yo-yo, and I like a little trompo, like we call in Puerto Rico. And I love dancing. So that's something I can do with one breaststick and 3 Sprites on my system. So when it comes to health, you guys have to realize that you have to sleep well. That's something I fell into, that my symptoms that I've had, and that I just decided to quit that, all my medicines, and I've always haven't been able to sleep well. So that comes with that. And I used to go to sleep 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I had to change that. If you put discipline, it can happen. When I started the podcast, I was waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning. That's not like, oh my God, this is so early. But I was getting way earlier than I usually would get up, and would go to sleep earlier as well. And that helped me a lot while launching my podcast. Now that I have my flow and I know how I deal with things, I can get up at 9:30 and deal with the rest of the things. Also, another thing that you don't want to lose sight of is your inner peace. Peace is the most expensive thing you'll ever own. And I have to inhale and exhale when saying this, because peace is not something that you can find at Gucci. Have you ever seen somebody on vacation still glued to their phone, fighting, sending emails, not being in peace? That's not a vacation. That's just stress with a prettier background. Why would you do that to yourself? You owe yourself some peace. You owe yourself that peace of mind. And also, along with that comes with relationship and love. You can buy the ring, but you can't buy loyalty. You can buy the bed, but you can't buy sleep. So, you can buy the dinner, but if there's no love, dessert is always gonna taste bitter. So you got to invest as well in that time that you need to spend with your spouse, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend. You have to water that relationship in order for it to be good. Because what is the point, once again, to have that success that you're so much after, but you're not taking the time, not even to sit down and talk with your wife about the day, about what happened, about how she feels, about the demons that she's fighting, about the ones that you might be fighting. It's all about connection. It's all about communication. It's all about being present. Being present and acknowledging the person that you're with, validating their feelings, and being connected to that person, letting them be seen, and allowing yourself to give them space to be part of your life. And most people say, oh, is that I feel lonely, I feel like this and I feel like that, but then as soon as they come home, they don't talk. They climb out, they go back into their shell, and they just don't talk, and they just relax, watch a movie, and they don't want to talk about the day because it was so stressful already. But then again, you're complaining that you feel lonely. So why you not allowing your spouse in? That's why your spouse is there for. To talk to you, to listen to you. You become totally irresponsible when you are blaming somebody else for you feeling lonely. But are you allowing space in your life for that person to be in it? Last but not least, another one of the things that we should not lose perspective of is purpose and impact. Our purpose in our life, how we move through life, what we do in life, the things that we do for the people that we love, how we behave with them, how we love them, how we impact their lives. Are we there for them? How much do we give? How much do we allow ourselves to be with them and to be seen? Because if you're worried about legacy and what are you leaving behind, everything that is materialistic is going to stay behind. But have you ever thought about, how do you want people to see you? I don't care about what people think of me, but I do care about the people that I love. And I do care about them knowing exactly where was I at the moment that I'm no longer here. Like, I love you. I was pissed off with you. Who are you again? All of that. I'm very big on that. Very big on that. Virgos, we're very big on that. And real legacy is not what you leave in the bank. It's not the amount of money that you have. It's not all of that. Real legacy is what you leave in people that surround you. Because nobody at your funeral is gonna be like, oh my God, like she had such an amazing collection of shoes. No, they're gonna talk about how you made them feel. Who were you as a person? They're gonna talk about your laugh. You're gonna talk about who you were. And by the way, I'm not gonna have a funeral. I'm just saying, and whoever sees this video, I will never have a funeral. And my best friend is in charge of that. No funeral. I'm gonna be cremated. And whoever did not take the time to come see me when I was alive, I'm so sorry for you. But no, I don't on any funerals. I don't believe in that. And I don't want anybody crying over I'm leaving or whatever. If it was my time, it was my time, period. And I might leave, I don't know, a list of people that I don't want a memorial, if there's going to be a memorial or celebration of life. And if that's going to happen, it better be with reggaeton music on. I mean, that's what I like to dance. It better be with reggaeton music. One thing I have learned, and one thing that I've been very active on doing, is making sure that every success that we have, or every milestone that my husband and I are able to achieve, to always keep my feet on the ground. My husband and I, we have been traveling for a couple of years now. to different places. And there has been many trips that even if the world have not known 100% part of it, because that's how I choose it to be, their footage that it will never see, it will never be shown on social media. Some things that are beyond and that are extremely amazing and that I cherish with all my life. And those are the moments that I rather just keep on my mind, because those are the things that we take with us. And there has been times that I've had to honestly pinch myself and be like, because in the moment you're there, you're all dolled up, you are all glammed up. Let me not get started, because it's like our first time we traveled to Las Vegas. Like, that whole trip was magical, and it was in the spur of the moment. We loved doing that, and we celebrated Halloween, roaming the streets. And I get goosebumps because things like, roaming the streets of Las Vegas. And one thing I always make sure that I do, and I'm trying not to get emotional, because when you come from nothing and then you find yourself at this, what was this called? A penthouse at El Bellagio at Las Vegas, where you could see the fountain. You're just sitting there and you're just standing there and you're just like, is this even freaking real? And then you try not to go back and think of like what you went through in the past, because I don't like comparing, but sometimes life takes you there and you're like, I never would have thought. And that trip, like, it was a spur of the moment trip. I loved that trip so much. We had 2-3 different costumes. We were walking around dressed up, my husband and I. It was so much fun. And it was just surreal the way that we walked. And that's when you like take time to admire what's all around you. Because when you're living experiences like that and you thought you would never make it this far, that's when you need to stop. And that's when you have to literally put your feet on the ground and be like, I am still that person that went through all of that. And also allow yourself to feel deserving of all of those experiences. Because the worst thing you could do be like, oh my God, like, no, this is so surreal, I don't deserve this, like, this is too much for me, this is too good to be true. No, stop. You don't have to share it with everybody, and not everybody needs to know. But you just stand right there, just literally just suck everything in and just like admire everything, the colors, the movement, the people, the fountains, the shows, just the talent. Like, there are things that you didn't even know existed. Living life like that consciously, being present, not thinking about, oh, this is gonna be so good for my social media, this is gonna be so good. No, just live it intentionally with a purpose to create new memories, not just so people know that I can travel. Yes, you get the cute picture here. Oh, this is a cute. Oh, this one turned out good. Okay, I'll post this one. I'm not talking about not posting. I'm just talking about really, really thinking about yourself when taking pictures instead of thinking this would be good for the outside world. A lot of people tend to focus too much on every trip that they go to. They start looking at a perspective from other people's point of view instead of owning their own. I see that a lot when I travel. And it's really sad. But me, I always keep myself grounded, and I do that. I do the same with my husband. I point out things that I see that he doesn't see, and he then's like, oh my God, yeah, look. So redefining what is really success, it all depends on you. I can't do that for you. I've done what I've had to do to feel comfortable where I am right now and feel deserving of everything that I worked so hard for. Redefining success, the definition usually means freedom of choice, being present with loved ones, living with peace and not pressure, and still dreaming bigger but appreciating the now. That is the most important thing. It doesn't mean that I'm like, oh no, I'm just gonna keep my head down. And no, it means that you're living with purpose. You're there. You're in person. Like, you are present. You're savoring the moment. And that's what it's all about. And yes, I want more, and I want to build. I want to grow. But I refuse to reach the top of the ladder, only to realize I was leaning against the wrong rail. I want to get there, but I want to get there right. And sometimes success is just knowing which ladder is yours in the first place and not borrowing someone else's because theirs looks shinier. Because our ladder might look rusty right now. But it's up to you to polish it, and just once after it's polished, keep on climbing. So, for what I've always seen, success, as however anybody defines it, because as I've said before, there's a different perspective of success to everyone. Maybe success to someone is getting a regular job and being able to afford a normal apartment, and I don't know, living a very normal and quiet life. Maybe success for somebody else like me is having a podcast, making an impact, meeting new people, networking, traveling, loving life, getting to empower women around the world to use their voice and to be themselves and to never be afraid of showing their true colors, no matter what. I am a true believer that there's always somebody out there for you that is going to love the crazy that you are. Believe me, I am one of those persons. I found the one that loves this crazy self just how I am. And it's insane because sometimes as humans, we hold secrets and we hold things that we don't dare to tell our partner because we think they're gonna judge us, or they're gonna hold it over our head because we told them that secret, and then it could become a weaponizing secret to begin with. But when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and we are able to talk to our partners and tell them things that we have never told anybody, and that person still loves you and even loves you more and holds space for you and doesn't judge you, and that makes you feel so safe, and you're like, oh my god, like this is so insane and so surreal. Like, I thought he was gonna run when I said that, but no, that's what it's all about. So success is not a finish line, it's not the car, it's not the house, it's not the trip. Success is waking up and knowing you're living in alignment with what actually matters to you. That's the kind of wealth you can't put a price tag on. The kind of wealth that you're living in alignment. Because money can buy a bed, but it can buy sleep, like we said. And you can buy a house, but not a home. A home is constituted by people that care about each other. It can buy medicine, but it cannot buy health. Success is keeping the things that money can't swipe a card for. So let me ask you, and here I have a couple things that I wrote in my notes. I'm gonna focus to this side and read. Are you chasing numbers, or are you building something that'll still matter 10 years from now? Ask yourself that question, because your money can buy a lot of things, but it can't buy your kids' memories. You guys have to understand that. Your peace of mind or your purpose in life. And if you don't believe me, just ask the billionaires. I think they're going to have a good answer for you. They've got everything, but half of them still can't buy a good hairline. Which is true. Anyways, if you guys saw this until the end, thank you so much. Thank you for clicking on this video. Thank you for your support. Please share this with your people. Share this with your friends. And do comment in the comment section. What are things that you define as success? What is it that you define as success? There's not a right or wrong answer to this. We all have very different definitions of what success is. For example, success to somebody else can be having a house with a farm and a lot of animals and making money off of that. To me, I would love that too. In reality, I need to create content. I love creating. So taking care of animals and creating, yeah, I don't see me. That's not me. Would I visit? I would. Please do share this with your people. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening to me. And until the next one, thank you guys. I love you.
And remember, we're unfiltered, unapologetic, and unstoppable. That's that.